Good morning. My name is Charles Brown, and for this assignment, I have been tasked with working with Miss Goode, a teacher, to help her integrate technological tools into her curriculum to help solve some problems. So let's dig on into the community project, Miss Goode Gets Better. What's the problem? Well, for her language arts class, the disparity in student competencies, there was a disparity in student competencies. Her advanced students were getting bored, and her lagging students weren't getting enough attention that they need to succeed. Social studies, students were bored with the material, so was she. So she desired something that could enrich and enhance the social studies curriculum. And one of her major problems is she only has 30 Chromebooks to share amongst 150 students. So whatever tool we use or I use has to take that in mind, into account. So who are the students? Well, Miss Goode's language arts and social study classes consist of a diverse group of 6th grade students from really all walks of life. How does the lesson work? Well, we're going to introduce the technology to the students and to the teacher. We're going to discuss assignments for each tool, really determine what are peer groups and how do we form them, who gets to use the Chromebooks, and finally assessing the students. Can technology solve problems? Well, I believe it can in this case. I've chosen 4 different tools to help Miss Goode out. They are Storybird, Padlet, Teaching Tolerance, and finally Quizlet for assessments. In Storybird, which can be accessed by browsing to storybird.com on the link, is an online language arts tool which enables and inspires students and teachers to develop and write illustrated stories to share with others. As you can see on the screenshot, the students and the teachers will have a myriad of different art profiles that they could choose to integrate into their stories as they create it. Padlet, which can be accessed by browsing padlet.com, is an online virtual bulletin board technology tool which allows teachers and students to create virtual walls where pictures, ideas, and stories and more can be shared. You can see from here in this picture here as people share different books they like. Teaching Tolerance, which can be accessed by browsing www.tolerance.org, is an online toolkit which allows teachers to use or create lesson plans regarding teaching tolerance. The purpose of this program is to teach students about the beauty of diversity, to carefully design lessons that deal with tough but important subjects, such as civil rights, prejudices, religions, and various other tolerance-related subjects. We'll get more into that later. What are the assignments for each tool? Well, for Storybird, the students will be developing and creating an online book and then presenting it. In Padlet, they're going to be involved and get involved in an online discussion board that the teacher will create. Teaching Tolerance will be online research, in-class discussion, online journaling, and a quiz that will be done online. For the Storybird assignments, the teacher will pair students, create student Storybird accounts. She'll also create a Google page for students to submit their Storybird URLs. There'll be a tutorial video to help students understand how to use it, Storybird. Groups will be responsible for developing the storyline from beginning to conclusion. These groups I recommend pairing a strong literary student with one who's struggling so they can both benefit, while also ensuring recurrent vocabulary words and grammar lessons are included in the overall story, how it ties into their current lesson. Students must include an image per page to match the story, and students will present stories to class once completed. Selected story will be shared to school, social media, or something of that nature to kind of encourage them to continue. The Padlet assignment, teacher will create student Padlet accounts, create names that are fictitious, do not use student real names, post a discussion board for a new book on the class Padlet wall, instruct the students to create a minimum post of whatever the teacher wants to do, 200 words, 300 words, 150 words, whatever it might be, and the frequency of it. Encourage students to finish work to use Chromebooks or to log in from home. So there's 2 opportunities to use the Chromebooks there. And explain that grammar, spelling, and content will be graded. For the Teaching Tolerance assignment, explain tolerance and diversity to students. Each lesson will have vocabulary words for students to learn. It's on each lesson there are vocabulary words included. Pre-select sites for research from supplied online material. Create peer groups, just as same as Storybird, to watch associated videos. You can actually do 2, 3, or 4 students in a peer group there. Have students come together to discuss what they've learned to initiate the dialogue. Explain that students will journal their thoughts to their Padlet page. Explain that grammar, spelling, and content will be graded. Common Core standards are listed for each lesson on the website. What are peer groups? Well, in fact, peer groups are just when you put students together, their peers in the same class. Put them in pairs or more. I'd recommend advanced students with struggling students so they both can benefit. This will encourage collaboration. It also allows students to pass on what they know and allows those needing help to get assistance. Who gets to use the Chromebooks? Well, peer groups share the Chromebooks during Storybird and teaching tolerance lessons. Individuals can borrow Chromebooks to post to Padlet discussion threads when their daily work is completed. For assessing the students, I recommend a website called Rubistar, rubistar.com. As you can see here, through Rubistar, you can create your own rubric, find rubrics, you can save them for future use, etc. So for assessing the students, we're going to have alignment with standards, Common Core standards, our Storybird rubric, Padlet rubric, teaching tolerance rubric, and Quizlet exam. For alignment with standards, as you can see, this lesson as a whole addresses several Common Core standards, from describing a story and stories or drama's plot, to introducing a topic, organizing ideas, writing informative explanatory text, engaging and orienting the reader by establishing context and introducing a narrator or characters, use a variety of transition word phrases and clauses to convey sequence, engage effectively in a range of collaborative discussions, teaching tolerance, etc. Example. So there are all these standards in the lesson are aligning with the Common Core standards. In addition to Common Core, we're also aligning to the International Society for Technology and Education standards, such as Empowered Learner, Digital Citizen, Knowledge Constructor, Creative Communicator, and Global Collaborator. It's important that these lessons integrate and align with these standards so that students stay on board with what schools are teaching. The Storybird rubric, the categories are participation, vocabulary words, appropriate imagery for the stories, grammar, presentation, and working with others. Padlet is pretty much the same, participation, vocabulary words, appropriate imagery, grammar, but also post-completion word count that the teacher will assign at the beginning of each discussion, and working with others. For teaching tolerance, we've got participation, journal entries, word count, journal entry substance, and then also collaboration and teamwork. This is a critical piece. Collaboration, teamwork, and participation are critical to the success of teaching tolerance being successful. For the Quizlet exam, here's an example one on Quizlet.com. I recommend 10 to 20 questions per lesson for the teaching tolerance lessons, and you'll pull that information right directly from teaching tolerance, so that teachers really won't have to think too hard and spend too much time developing the quiz. Come right directly from each lesson. There's myriad lessons within teaching tolerance, from diversity to civil rights to religion, etc., etc. So what to expect? As I mentioned in the beginning, the objectives of this lesson are to design a series of assignments that would enable Ms. Goode to provide additional instruction to meet the disparate competency and time needs of her language arts students and her social studies students, and provide stimulating material to enhance her social studies classes. Through deliberate effort and technology integration, students in both subjects will be offered opportunities for educational enrichment and competency improvements. Students will have fun integrating technology into their lessons while deepening their research and literacy skills. I hope this lesson informs you, gets you excited about integrating and implementing these tools in your class. As we progress, I will be spending more time with Ms. Goode to get these tools integrated so that her students can gain the benefit that technology offers education. Thank you very much.